3, 2, 1.
What's up everyone, Dan here, Crypto Capital Venture, July 15th, 2018. I hope you're doing well. In this video, I'm going to give you some things to look out for Litecoin. If you're watching Litecoin today, Sunday, some things on the charts, some momentum indicators that we can possibly watch, and some areas of resistance that hopefully we can break. If you do not like technical analysis, if you think it's a waste of time, I'd recommend not watching this video. I get comments all the time. It's like, technical analysis is such a waste of time. I don't know why you do this. And I'll throw that question right back at you. If you think technical analysis is a waste of time, why are you wasting your time watching these videos and commenting on these videos? That doesn't make sense to me. But let's hop into the video and talk about what's going on with Litecoin. We got some things to look at today. So here we go. On the chart, you see a couple things happening. Obviously, yesterday we talked about this reverse head and shoulders, right, in play, and needing to break this downward slope neckline, which you see in the last day or so, we have broken that neckline. So that's the first thing we were looking out for. The second thing, and probably more importantly, we obviously have that 50 EMA synergistic with the neckline. That's probably the more important resistance area that Litecoin needs to break. Obviously, this second shoulder was very small, so breaking that neckline, I mean, it was like a 1%, 2% gain or something to even break that. But what we really need to break in order to confirm maybe some bullish momentum is this 50 EMA, which even that is not very far off. It's 78, what is that, like 78.34 it looks like. So let's look at that. Let's kind of go over to this chart, is a little bit more zoomed in, and let's talk about this red channel that I have on the screen, if I can get this screen in order. Hold on one sec. What is going on? There we go. Okay, so this red channel, we have the high of, that 50 EMA right around 78.36, and then we have the low of the channel, which is really right where we're trading right now. And that low of the channel is really the high point of this previous lower high on this 4-hour, this chart is killing me. It's the lower high on this 4-hour chart. So that's kind of where we are. We need to break this whole resistance channel. First, break this lower high, create a new high on the 4-hour, and then break the 50 EMA, which is probably the most important part. And then from there, we can talk about, this reverse head and shoulder actually setting us up for some positive momentum. And if we do break that 50 EMA, what's going to be important is a possible retracement back and to see if we can hold support there. Obviously, Bitcoin doing its own thing over there, on especially the daily with its own reverse head and shoulders. That's something to keep in mind as well. So that's kind of what we're looking at right now in terms of Litecoin. So on the downside, I want to point this out to you. We have these lower or these higher lows on the 4-hour, and right now, if we do see resistance at this channel that I've drawn here, if we see resistance and a bounce off, what we're going to need to look for is continued support at this upward trend line. So in other words, simply on the 4-hour, we need to create a new higher low and not break these previous higher lows. So right now, this area is extremely tight. So we're not talking about big moves here. We're talking about pretty small moves, but these small moves will be an indicator of the momentum of Litecoin. So real quick, we can go to the daily and just check that out just for a general overview of what Litecoin is looking like on the daily. So if we open up the stock RSI, you can see we were starting to approach that that oversold area. We never got there. We have a little bounce right here. So you can see there's been some support with where we're trading right now in this small, very small channel. So all we can do right now is kind of sit back and watch. Obviously on the daily, a huge thing for me, if we can break these resistance areas that we just talked about, that red channel that we just talked about on the 4-hour, what you'll see is in doing that, we will most likely break this 40 line on the daily RSI, and that 40 line, as you know, to me is important. So my whole thing right now in looking at this possible third bottom is to see if we can get some upward momentum on this RSI oscillator and get above that 40 line, and then from there see that 40 line as supports. So that's what I'm looking like. That's what I'm looking at on Litecoin right now. I know some of you are out there and you kind of like tracking this, as do I. And so that's all we can do. We can track it, we can watch it, we can, you know, get prepared for either or. But right now, that's what we're looking at. I do want to say one thing, and we can end the video with this point, which is looking at the second bottom that we had back in April. You can see a lot of similarities in just the movement of the pattern, right? And what I mean by that is we had that initial first drop, right? We bounced around a little bit, we tested the bottom again. Same thing here where we are today. Initial first drop, moving around a little bit, testing the bottom. And then from that testing of the bottom, we saw a nice little run up through the 50 EMA. The market was very bullish for like four hours, maybe 8 hours. And then we went all the way back down and we tested the bottom. So similarly, what has happened is we've broke the 50 EMA. I remember the market was bullish, and then we kind of went back below the 50 EMA, had another downward trend. We started testing these lower areas. We see support, similar to seeing support that we saw on that second bottom. And then finally, we had a really nice run up through that 50 EMA one more time, and we stayed above it, and we traded above it, and there we were with those higher highs and higher lows. So the question is, can that happen right now? Can we break that 50 EMA for a second time compared to this time? Can we break it, and can we start having these higher highs and these higher lows? That's the question. Can we turn this thing around? But I thought it was, you know, important to point out the similarities of this channel on the second bottom to this channel on this possible third bottom that we're in right now. Obviously need to hold support down here, but time will tell and we will see. I just wanted to share my thoughts with you. Let me know your thoughts. What are you thinking if you're tracking this thing? If you're doing your own technical analysis, what are you seeing? I always enjoy reading your comments. Thank you so much for coming by on this Sunday. I will see you in the next video, and God bless.